Well, when I first decided that I was taking the actual steps to be in a program or something that would teach me how to vocally channel, I had already been channeling spirit beforehand. And we are all actually doing that, regardless if we know it or we're aware of it or not. We are all channeling in our own ways. So it's that space, that flow state that you get in when you're being your creative self. So whether or not it's writing, music, creation, whatever that creation thing is, when you're in that clicked in flow state, that's you channeling. So if you're a painter, like Katie, when you're painting, you're channeling spirit, you're channeling non-physical energy, and you're manifesting it and grounding it into a physical expression. So everyone's actually doing this. When we're looking at the aspect that we're talking about here, where I'm working with specific entities, that's more of like a focused intent where I'm very aware that I'm allowing an energy to enter my energy field. Now, they've been working with me for a long time before that through music for as long as I've been doing it. I knew that I was channeling information when I would do like card readings for people or anything that's energy based. I was already channeling information that way. I would click in, I wouldn't even think about what I'm saying. I would just literally word vomit. And it would just come out, and sometimes I would say the exact thing that the person was experiencing or going through, and it would just click in. So that trial and error, almost just doing it, allowed me to see that I'm actually doing it on a level that I wasn't even cognizantly aware of. So after I figured that out, I did discover what channeling was by finding channelers. And I came across, different people, and I was so enamored by it because it felt so pure. It didn't feel like ego attachment. It felt like just this pure energy, this pure information that was not centered within the ego, meaning not that it's bad, but that there was no filter that the person was bringing through. I could feel it in my body. It just wasn't. And I was like, that's what I want to do for people. I want to be a clear conduit of information that best serves humanity or the person that I'm working with without Derrick becoming a part of that. I want it to be just information that helps each person the way it needs to be done. So when you ask for something, as we all know, and I'm sure we're all sitting here because we ask for something or we seek out something, whether or not we ask for it in a thought or a verbal form, we get it. Whatever that thing is, law of attraction brings it to us no matter what happens, even if we're not ready for it. And that's what I did. I said, I want to do this. I know I'm supposed to channel verbally or vocally. And all of a sudden, everything kind of just unfolded. And I found a channeler who, like an interview of a channeler, and she named the teacher that she had. And then I went and looked her up to see who that channeler was, and she so happened to live in Los Angeles. And then she so happened to have a new set of classes starting for beginners in like a few weeks, in a few weeks. And so then I just signed up for it, and here we are. And then I met Nick, and we were channeling.
Yeah, when you were talking, I was thinking about like little kids almost as channels. And this sense of this unbridled, like unashamed, just pure energy, pure positive energy that's just like flowing through children, and the sense of not being tamped down by a sense of how they think that they should be, or that process of creation flows so naturally for kids.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. And the children now that are coming in, because they're already being birthed with the higher frequencies, because we're raising in our own dimension, all the children that are coming in are already infused with those higher frequencies, that they're just bringing it in naturally. They're channeling, and it's becoming clear. My friends who have kids all have special abilities, and I'm talking one is like 1.5-year-old kid. The other one is like 8 years old, and he's already connected to crystals, and he sees his guides come, and he doesn't realize what it is. But I'm being told by the mother, who's my friend since we were kids, she goes, oh yeah, he came in and was like, the big yellow bird went underneath his bed, and he's got a guide that says this, and we have two beings that stand outside the house, and I get it on camera. And I'm like, it's because these kids are very, very, very special. They came here we're here, all of us right now are the ones bridging it. We're bridging that. We're literally carrying it in. We're closing out the old and we're bringing in the new, but those are the ones who are going to really plant it so that it can grow. So all the kids are coming in with these higher frequencies at this time, and you're going to see a lot more of them just channeling information through, music through. It's going to be like easy. And now the parents are more open with their consciousness, so they're going to be able to support those children right off the bat rather than judging it from their own old paradigm. Well, you're receiving divine guidance in that moment. So when you're hearing something or you're feeling something within you, your body is picking. So we have energy around us all the time, right? But sometimes we're so not present, where our consciousness is doing a bunch of other things, that we're not picking up on the subtle energies that are giving us information all the time. So the more you can be present and grounded within that trust that you were just talking about, the more you're going to see that it actually aligns with your heart. It's almost this signal that kind of permeates your chest, and it's like, yeah, this feels good right now, whatever it is. It's our secondary thoughts that come into play with it that we start judging it. And when we start judging it, isn't judgment a lower vibrational word and action? It's not the initial thing where we felt it so pure. We then go to judge it because of past programs, things that we're told to believe, comparisons, so on and so forth. So when you receive that first impulse, our guides, our angels, our ancestors, all of the beings that work with us are giving us those moments of like, here you go, here's your information. Because they are you. You are them, they are you. You're carrying aspects and fragments of each other. So they're you just giving you information that would best suit you in that moment. So in a form, you're channeling. When I talk about channeling, though, it's more of like opening up to that flow state, being in that flow state. But you can channel information. You're picking up on psychic hits. You're picking up on things from your higher self and then the higher guidance that works with you. So depends on how you look at it. And I mean, depends on what feels right for you. And everything like that is going to morph and change as your abilities grow. You begin to ground yourself in such a trusting space that you don't necessarily need to hear what someone else's perspective is, because you know yourself that this is your reality and how you receive that information. So this is a really good point, and I love that you just said that, because I want to give everybody a tool. I know a few that have worked with me or have been in a class with me know this tool, but it's working with the higher self is the easiest way to begin allowing channeled information to come through you. So a good tip and tool or something you can do is when you're going to do either writing in your journal or a meditation, take some time to actually sit into that receptive state, take some nice deep breaths and tune into a very balanced space, and then intend to connect with your higher self. So I set the intention to connect with my higher self and to bring forward any messages that you want me to know. Higher self, what would you like me to know? Or if you have some information you want directly, higher self, what can you tell me about this? And the reason why I say higher self first, because that's your transcendent self. That's the being or the entity, the energy that oversees everything about you, knows all of your past lives, your future lives, your concurrent lives. And you can access that higher self version of you to get any information that you want. So sit in a meditative space just to get nice and tuned in, present, because you want to be present. Tune into your heart, tune into love, and then start writing and let the message come through. And then don't stop until it feels like it's time to stop. You'll know. You'll just be like, that's all. But that's you channeling your higher self and bringing information through you. So if you ever feel, at a loss, or you ever need some information on something that will assist you, this is a great tool because it is the higher perspective of whatever your little Amber is experiencing. Okay? So little Amber is experiencing this, little Tommy, little Nicholas, little Katie, and then there's the higher, most transcendent versions of us that will give us proper information that will help us be present and tune into what we seek.
one thing that's coming up, Derek, as you're speaking about that is, I feel like oftentimes there's this concept that channeling is like a very transcendent thing, as though you're like somehow becoming detached. And I'm curious your perspective on this, but for me, it's fascinating because it's almost like the deeper I go into my physicality and the more I'm grounded and settled and relaxed in my physical body, the more that can actually come through me. And that it's actually like when I'm disconnected, when I'm dissociating, I'm not actually allowing that to flow through me. And so it's quite different than what I think most people perceive it to be.
Yes. That is a very important statement that you just made, is that you can access that information and be able to tune into that by being grounded. If you are separated from the experience and you're floating around in, let's say, the astral plane, or floating around and you're not connected to your body, you're actually just open to receiving all kinds of different stuff. If you're not grounded within yourself, trust, and grounded within the earth, and taking that time to really feel secure, like Lindsey said, then if you're not taking that time, tendency will be that your higher guidance, those beings who want to work with you, will not necessarily blend with you the same way, because they're looking out for your best interest. And if you can't be grounded, then you're not going to be able to handle this high information, this high light, this high frequency that would be coming through. Because you need to understand that you're having that earth experience. We're having a physical experience, so to disconnect from that is missing the point of your whole experience. You have to be willing to accept this earth life and the fact that we are part of the earth and everything on it, in order to access that information. Because it will make us ungrounded. It will separate us from what we're having as a physical experience in that way, where it's almost like you have to appreciate both. In order to reach the heavens, you must be grounded here on earth. It's kind of like a protective mechanism. You won't be able to do all that you can do if you're not going to take the time to appreciate that experience and be grounded here on earth. And that's how I look at it. But like channeling, like my group meets tonight, and I always sit and I ground, and I take deep breaths and I ground myself and I center myself, and then allowing them, and I have a mantra. So we're supposed to say a mantra that will allow an affirmation and an invitation. So I affirm what my experience is going to be. I say that I'm an open and honest and clear channel. And then I say, I invite them. Because you also need to make sure that you're setting boundaries. It's very important that your frequency, everything is vibrational frequency. Everything is law of attraction, no matter if you do it or not, or use it to your benefit or not. So I tune into that grounded space, a space of love, and then I allow them to come forward by inviting them. Now that process took some time. And at first, when I first started, I didn't feel that energy. And one day, I invited that energy, and I was in the class group, and then I felt what it was like to be blended with by a higher entity. And it literally, and I still to this day tell people that I work with or that are interested in this, to me, it felt like ecstasy was just dumped into my energy field and in my body. It literally made my chest raise up. My mouth was open. I was in everything within me felt like unconditional love. And I felt like I had never felt what love really was until I felt that. So now my entities, when they blend with me, they always enter my field with a sense of love. But that is such a high vibrational frequency of light that you must have your body prepared for it. So you won't get all of a sudden these experiences. You must be almost conditioned. I channeled the Archangel Michael, and when he was coming through, it was like a powerful energy permeating my skin, my interior, everything. And I had to really find balance within myself and really embody that light and be prepared for it, because it's just too high. It's too high of a frequency for just, if you've never done it before, all of a sudden to get a light transmission is just too high. You must be prepared for that experience. Sometimes if you're if it's audible, you'll get it and they'll give you a name. Sometimes they say higher self. Sometimes you get a thought. Sometimes you're getting an image. Like when Sobek first came through, that was very unexpected. Sobek's an ancient Egyptian god, and I was not prepared for that. And all of a sudden I saw an image of the crocodile god, Sobek. And I was like, wait. And I was asking the question telepathically. I'm like, are you sure? And my head does this thing now where it nods to like give me an answer for who's connecting with me. Because I always check in and I say, are you sure? Because I don't want to be wrong when it comes through. And they sent me a vision of them. So sometimes I get a vision, sometimes it's their energy signature, and I know very well who it is based off of the energy. So even if it feels like love and feels like really like out of this world vibe ecstasy, it still has very nuanced different vibrations based off of who's connecting with me. So I can get a flush of love, but that could be Archangel Michael because I feel the heat come with it. So the heat will come through my body and I'll be like, and then I'll go, is this Archangel Michael? Or I don't even have to ask the question and they just say it now. Like when Sacred Light which is a Palladian collective, and then when Hatshepsut, who is from ancient Egypt, came forward, they just say their names. I don't have to ask, they just say the name. So it's evolved, it's changed. You kind of just have to ask the questions, investigate. Remember that you're always in control of the experience. You're always in control. You always have to be grounded within that. And ask the questions because we won't get the answers that we're not asking for. Now, along with your second part of that question, which is, these are us, it's all of that. Meaning anything that's within your experience, including this one, is a fragment of you. So as we're all sitting here right now talking to each other, we are all aspects of each other, or else we can't have this experience. So everyone and everything within your life is an aspect of you. You are sharing energy, information that you both share, which brings you to each other in this experience. So right now, we all are carrying fragments of each other, and we are experiencing what we need to learn and share of that. So now, let's take it into a non-physical sense. As you see, let's say Archangel Michael comes to you. Archangel Michael comes to you because you are fragmented with the Archangel Michael energy. So you came into this earth, but you came in with a fragment of the Archangel Michael. So whatever entity or energy that you connect with, listen, I get new ones all the time. It blows me away. Beings I've never heard of before. And then all of a sudden they give me a name and I have to like research who they are because I have no idea. And I go, well, I guess I'm fragmented with that, with that person or that being from a past time because they are us. Now, when you're thinking about now let's go to future, extraterrestrials. When you have an extraterrestrial come to you in a vision or a meditation or a dream, they are an aspect of you. They are you. If there's one singular being, it could be you in a future life that you're going to experience. But there's soul fragments, so we all share. It just really depends on each individual person. Now, when we're thinking of that collective that I channel called the Sacred Light, they are a ninth dimensional Pleiadian collective. They gave me their name before they even blended with me. And they are a collective energy. So they're not a single being. They're like if all of us right here went into energy, and instead of being limited by our physical body, we all just merged together and became a collective. This small little Thursday afternoon or night collective. You know? So the Pleiadian, that ninth dimensional Pleiadian collective, they are a collection that I am a part of, that my soul is a part of, my energy fragment is a part of. So you see how it can be so wide and so vast? It really comes down to you taking the time to ask the questions. And when you do that, you can do the higher self thing. Higher self. What, this being is coming to me. What do I need to know about them? Who are they? What's going on? And see what comes forward and allow those things to come forward.
Derek, I have a question because I feel very tapped into source energy and I feel like I am a clear channel much of the time. And there's also sometimes, less over time, where I feel so much doubt and confusion. And I don't know if you can speak to that. but it's just an interesting dichotomy within me that I've noticed.
Well, you have to ask yourself, when does the doubt come in? Like, what is the moment that you have a moment of doubt with the experience? What is it? Is there something that you can say that recently happened that you can... Because every moment is so different that you have to access the moment. So for example, okay, here's an example. This morning, we had a big old earthquake, 4:30 in the morning, and I was shaking, like looking at the wall, and because it happened on the other side of the hill right here. So the earthquake happens, I'm looking there and I was like, okay, all these earthquakes were coming and I was starting to drift off in this little space. But as I started to drift back off, I saw this purple planet. This purple planet showed up, and then I saw all these orange rock formations. And normally I get the word of what that place was, but I didn't get it this time. So then I was like, I go, well, what was that? And I get Venus, but then I started doubting it. I started doubting the experience. So I still do that as well. I doubt certain times of what I'm getting. But then I take the time to go in later, to go in when I'm in a meditation or clear space. And I ask those questions to get clarification so that I can be in a place of trust and I can trust what my experience is or whatever. So it really just depends on the situation. But guess what? That experience of when you all are trying to learn when to trust yourself, if you can trust those feelings or those messages that you get, wouldn't you say that that's part of the entire experience you're supposed to have? You're supposed to work through and do homework. You're supposed to be in a space of questioning what the reality is or what you're getting, because it's teaching you about your ultimate power. It's clearing out the doubt. It's clearing out those things and allowing you to stand more within what you actually really know for your own experience. So it serves you in that way when you have a doubt. If you are defeated by the doubt, then you're missing out on why you're having the doubt in the first place. It's just directive. It's just like trying to push you in the right direction, that's all. That's because you're being of service. And every time you choose to be of service, the universe and all of your guides and all of the energies that work for you repay you in ways that are beyond what you thought it could be. So the moments that we choose to be of service to others and be a conduit for that, you in that moment give permission for more love to come through your body and into your field. As I'm saying that right now for you is when I just got a wave down my body. So that was a very true thing for you. It's when we do that and we say we're going to help somebody, that is a form of love. That's unconditional right there. It doesn't matter who they are. You made that choice to do something for somebody else. And again, in that moment, you make also the agreement to welcome or invite more love in. Because that's what healing is. It is truly love, and it is reconnecting to that love. So as you start feeling that within your physical body, just remember that yes, we can have sensations within our physical body. We're not necessarily... A being isn't taking over our body. We're not having, a being isn't going inside of us and possessing us. That's like a consciousness kind of thing. You can agree to something like that, but that's not how it works. The energy enters your energy field. But what happens with things that affect our energy field, everybody? Well, the chakra system picks it up, it puts it in our body, and we get to feel it physically within our body, or it manifests with whatever that area is governed by. So when you feel something enter into your energy field, you're experiencing that energy in its pure form, but it's not necessarily inside of you. You're agreeing to allow it to work with your energy field.
Yeah, I told all my friends you were like a witch therapist. like a therapist for
Well, since you've had that experience, what I aim to do every time is just be really present with whatever's needed in the moment. And that's why if you're sticking to a structure, you're not really seeing what the person has done within a week. And what you do in a day, for yourself by simply making the agreement to do so, You've already unlocked all those capabilities. So within a week, you're all of a sudden having these massive shifts and experiences taking place. You don't need necessarily, a structured therapy thing where it's by the book, because it truly is what is going on within the present moment. So when I do work with people, before I even did this, I sat here before Lindsey and I popped on with Lindsey and I said, angels and guides, please ground me into the core of the earth. Surround me with unconditional love and light today. I am an open and an honest and a clear channel of information from my highest guidance of the light and only the light. I invite my highest guidance of the light and only the light to connect, to communicate with me for all of these people, for myself, for the world. I just ground and I tune into that immediately so that I can be present with the moment. Because if we can be present within the moment, within every single thing that we do, you will always be in that flow state where you are receiving the best, highest guidance for you. You'll always know what is going to best suit you in that moment. It is when you remove your consciousness from that present moment out into other timelines that aren't physically happening that we get muddy and things get a little wobbly. And that's why we practice just bringing it back to that present moment. And the more you practice that, the more you bring it back to that present, which is what you were doing by sending healing to somebody, you are going to receive what the universe and all the energy around you wants to give to you. It's all sitting there, each one of you. It's all sitting right here. It's right here. And it just says, let me in. And you just got to be like, okay, I let love in. And isn't judgment one of the biggest roadblocks we have to everything we want to see happen in our lives? Judgment is a restriction. We are restricting things by judging them. By judging ourselves, we're restricting. If we judge ourselves thinking we're ugly, we are restricting our beauty. So you have to think about it like that. What felt good? This is how I tell everybody. And this is like, people are like, how do you know what to do or when you have decisions? I'm like, it's super easy if you want it to be. It's two things. Does it feel good or does it feel bad? Is it positive or is it negative? What feels better? Did the flow state walking around feel really good or did it feel like, is it positive or was it negative? It was positive. Good. Did the judgment feel positive or negative? Feels negative. That's your answer right there. So if you can always check in those moments that you start to do that and you say, is this positive or negative? You're going to see the experience there. However, that said, your doubt and those moments are literally also needed for us to know what direction we want to go in. The doubt and that worry and that fear, we need that to match. That negativity must match the positivity. Think of the battery. The positive negative charge equals the charge. But it depends if you're going to see it from that perspective, if we're going to use it to our benefit or not. So anytime you guys all have a moment of doubt or judgment, say, this is my moment. What did we just do by saying, we interrupted it. We interrupted it from going far into judgment and we stopped it and we said, okay, is this a positive or negative feeling? It's a negative. Okay, then it's teaching you to make sure you keep going in this direction. It's all kneading you. I'm doing this as if I'm massaging your shoulders. It's all kneading you into who you are becoming. So every moment, that's okay. You go, here's that moment. Cool, I have time to practice. It's an opportunity for you to practice mastering your own energy.